What is up, folks, and welcome to another edition of the ONETA Show, brought to you by PT Creative. As always, I am your host, Evan Davies. Today, I'm flying solo because we're doing a little bit of a specialty timed thing. For those who do not know, however, you should know by general social media news in general, and I don't know the headline of this podcast. WrestleMania 40 is this weekend. Those who don't know, I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. So WrestleMania 40 is here in Philadelphia, PA. So today I'm going to be doing a little preview show for WrestleMania 40. I hope y'all enjoy it. So without further ado, let's begin. So we're going to use for the video format, we're going to go straight to the WrestleMania 40 page on WWE.com as our biggest way of doing things. So as we go, we're going to build our way to our main event shown right here. So we're going to scroll down with our first match, LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Now, a bit of a pretext pretext to what I say. Been a huge pro wrestling fan since I was about 9 years old. Absolutely adore pro wrestling. I am definitely one where some would consider a smart mark if we know wrestling lingo, but you can hear me use wrestling lingo a lot in podcasts or the other shows that we record for P Creative. But as CM Punk just said on Monday Night Raw, I'm more of an experience and drive-through kind of listener. That is who I am. I'm a huge Jim Cornette fan. Don't agree with everything he's ever said, but I agree with a lot of his pro wrestling takes specifically. I like athletic in ring competition, trying to showcase it as far more of a personal issue and an athletic competition of something you're trying to win versus a show where you just do stuff to each other and that's all you do. So, for instance, I'm the kind of guy who I was never a big Hulk Hogan guy. He was a big show over the top guy. I like Shawn Michaels. I liked Eddie Guerrero. I liked CM Punk for that reason because they were guys that could go in the ring. So here's a great example of that. I think you've got the megastar himself, LA Knight versus AJ Styles here. AJ is one of the greatest in-ring technicians, I should say, not tacticians, technicians in all of pro wrestling history. I think AJ's work is unparalleled at this point and has now really inherited that new Shawn Michaels role of he can lose as many times as you want because frankly he's so good it doesn't matter. Hopefully that doesn't mean he keeps losing like he always does, but that's kind of where AJ is with WWE. I think this has to be a very interesting matchup for a lot of reasons. One, they've made it into a very big personal issue of just straight personality. And obviously, AJ's leaning the heel role. LA Knight is running the babyface role. LA Knight is an explosion of a star waiting to happen, as he has already shown. I think he should be far closer to that heavyweight championship rank than he's kind of been in for the most part, outside of that little push for the last couple months. So, with that being said, I've got um, a lot invested into saying that a lot invested. I would invest a lot in LA Knight. That's what I should say. I would invest a lot in LA Knight. LA Knight is going to be my pick for this. I think this is going to be sneakily could be one of the matches of the night. So I'm going to go LA Knight over AJ Styles in a very personal contest. I would not be shocked if it opens one of the shows. Now, moving on, we've got the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship, quote, six-pack tag team ladder match. Too many words in that. Pretty much, it's a six-team ladder match for the WWE Tag Team titles. What's interesting here is this is at least a good look at trying to revive a tag team division. I think with the storylines that they've done so far, you have Miz and R-Truth back together again as the Awesome Truth. You have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. You've got Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, also known as Butch. Or is he back to being Pete Dunne? He's back to being Pete Dunne. But regardless, love those guys. You have the classic of the New Day, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston. You've got DIY and Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And then you've got the tag team champions themselves. The tag team champions themselves. My gosh, I cannot talk on this episode. You have the titles themselves in Damian Priest and Finn Balor of Judgment Day. With those, I think there's a clear build. I think the clear winner is going to be Awesome Truth at the end of the day. I don't know why you would build that back as a tag team and give as much of a run to that tag team build for the last couple months as they have since Survivor Series with R-Truth. I don't think you do that without having an end at WrestleMania for a ladder match where you can easily set up rematches and other things, not hurt your tag team champions. I would say you got to understand it's going to be Truth and Mrs. Knight at the end of the day. But I think you're going to see a lot of fun spots out of Kofi. I think DIY is going to have some fun in it. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Pete Dunne just crush people's fingers with the ladder. For once, I think there's viable tag teams that have been showcased a little bit to try to make them worthwhile tag teams, unlike a lot of the tag team events that they've ever had. But I think it's going to be Miz and R-Truth Knight over on Saturday or Sunday, winning tag team gold or silver in this case. Now we have the third ever brother versus brother matchup at WrestleMania. Main event, Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. In many ways, this is the best built match on the card from a long-term standpoint. However, it's kind of come out of nowhere from a quick standpoint. So it is a bit interesting to see what it is going with these guys. I'm not expecting a technical clinic in any way, shape, or form out of this match. I am, however, expecting a lot of big spots and big emotion coming from it. Jey Uso is now a bona fide single star, where I don't think Jimmy is that, but they've made Jimmy enough of a threat with the heel persona of the bloodline that you can do something there and get a lot of emotion. However, I think it's the time to anoint Jey Uso as the main star of the two and also just move forward with Jey as a singles player. And however, I could also see this being the turn to get Jimmy back to babyface side and make the storyline turn to where the Usos are back together as babyface champions together. I think the obvious choice for the win is Jey Uso. Worth the build. So I'm going to go Jey Uso for the win in the tag team, or in the brother versus brother matchup. Tag team split apart. Jey Uso takes it over Jimmy Uso. Now here's an interesting one. Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Sami got in to this match over, oh God, what were they calling it? It was essentially a gauntlet match. That's what it was. It was a gauntlet match. And a lot of people, it should be Chad Gable. It should be Chad Gable because Chad Gable has been showcased a little bit more in the Intercontinental field. However, Sami has really shown to be a main event player over the past year and a half with the Bloodline stuff. The best moment, arguably, of all WrestleMania last year was Night 1 with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn winning the tag titles against the Usos before they broke up. I just think that a lot of that criticism is far too overblown. Because Sami is the right choice. Sami's been built. Sami's got the ability. Sami has that special quality to make matches great because he's a great wrestler. On the other side, you have one of the best wrestlers on the planet in Gunther. I really, really, really love Gunther's work. This is going to be the first where I'm picking the heel to win. I'm just scrolling through quick. I think LA Knight has to win because of He just needs a big win. AJ's made. I think LA needs a big win, so I think it's going to go LA Knight. I don't see anything except Awesome Truth winning the tag ladder match, just because who else is going to win that? I think Judgment Day is getting ready for a breakup, so it's time. Jay, I think. What's the point of Jimmy Uso winning? So that's why I think you got to go Jey Uso. Just logical and start the turn back towards positivity for Jimmy. But this is where I have to go Gunther. Gunther's in the midst of the longest Intercontinental Championship reign of all time. Gunther's work is virtually unmatched for the most part. On top of that, Gunther's just a goddamn animal in the ring. He's going to beat the shit out of you, which makes it far more of an enjoyable thing because it looks like a contest where you're trying to win something. It means something, and he's made the Intercontinental Championship mean a lot, far more than it has for a long, long time. So I have the utmost respect for Gunther here, and I think Sammy's going to give him a good run. It's going to be a close one, but at the end, Gunther wins it because I think Gunther has to keep going until Bash at Berlin. At the Bash in Berlin, I believe, which is in August, September. Yeah, they're going to Berlin, Germany, and they're going to want that European star, and Gunther's clearly that European star that they've made a lot out of. So I think you're going to want Gunther to be your headliner there. And I could see the Intercontinental Championship being the headline main event, or a title for title kind of situation, which could also be very interesting with Gunther. So I think Gunther takes this one in Philadelphia. Gunther keeps it over Sami Zayn. Here's another really interesting one. Triple threat match. Logan Paul versus Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. You got a YouTube sensation who's actually pretty damn good in the ring, and he's getting better because he's getting more involved in ring time. Kevin Owens obviously has been a mainstay and been an unsung hero for the most part for the WWE in the last 5 years. Ever since he got to the main roster, he's been great, without question. I've loved Kevin Owens' work from the moment I saw it. But really through the pandemic, Drew McIntyre was an obvious home run hit of a pandemic champion. It's just that the pandemic was tough. But another guy that was right there kind of holding it down was Kevin Owens, doing a lot of good work through the pandemic. So, and he's been a mainstay and been involved in all these really big angles for a while now, and I really appreciate. So I'm going to go Kevin Owens. Great. Now we keep moving forward with it, and Randy Orton. Randy is on a huge hot streak since returning at Survivor Series. He looks phenomenal. I don't think Randy's looked better physically in a long, long time or ever. Randy looks great. And they're showing Randy to be that killer instinct Randy again as a huge threat. I think what's really smart is you having Kevin Owens and Randy Orton vying for our United States Championship because it elevates the United States Championship. And then Logan is a good heel champion. So it's an interesting combination of the three. The storylines that they're building with the uneasy alliance of Owens and Orton, making sure Paul doesn't win, is an interesting vibe. I think in the end, though, if I have to call it, I'm of two ways. I don't think Kevin Owens escapes with that U.S. title. If I'm forced to call it, I could see either Randy or Logan Paul taking it. I'm already looking, I'm just previewing the rest of the card quick on video format, and I just don't see a lot of heels winning matchups. I see a lot of title changes happening as well. You don't want every title to change hands because it kind of almost, I don't want to say cheapens it, but it kind of does if every championship changes hands. For that reason, I think heavily that it could be Logan Paul, and you're getting a setup of Randy and Kevin Owens afterwards. But uh, mm, you know what? I'm gonna go U.S. champion. Let's say it's Randy. Let's go Randy on this one. I could really easily see it being Logan Paul, though. I was going to go Logan Paul this whole time, but Randy's just getting so damn hot. I think you want to capitalize on that. And then you can say it was a miscue, and Owens and Orton are not communicating well, and that sets up your feud for the U.S. title, which is obviously great. So I'm going to go, I'll say Randy wins this one, but it's going to be, it's Logan Paul or Randy. I don't think it's Kevin Owens. So I think it's, but I'm going to pick Randy. Then we're going to get to our first World Championship match of the night. Women's World Championship. Defending champion for over a year, for a year now, Rhea Ripley versus the man Becky Lynch. This is going to be one hell of a match. This could be match of the night. This could be match of the weekend, actually. Rhea is so good. Rhea is such a phenomenal talent in the ring. The personality is there. The work is there. The promos are there. The attitude is there. The presence is there. I can really see an argument 5 years from now that Rhea Ripley is the greatest female star in all of professional wrestling history. When it's all said and done. I really could. I think you already have that in Charlotte Flair from a total perspective. Because stars of the past, as much as stars of the past have an argument for that, going all the way to the Mildred Burks of the world, they just did not perform that often. They were not highlighted that well. So, and it was far more of a gimmicky kind of thing. Women's matches were gimmicky. So, I think it's a bit tough to compare it to a modern context of the women going at it all the time with the match rate, with the work rate being what it is. And that is why I can easily see Rhea being in that conversation. Or Rhea is just so talented, so special. And then on the other hand, you have one of, if not the biggest superstar when it comes to women's wrestling in Becky Lynch. I don't know if there's a woman that's been hotter at one moment of time than Becky Lynch. You could have to go back to the days of Chyna when Chyna was at the top of her game. Trish and Lita were obviously great. They never reached that whoa, holy shit moment that Becky had. Becky was literally Stone Cold Steve Austin moment for a while there. Obviously, no one's Stone Cold Steve Austin, but she was kind of getting that treatment. Deservedly so. So this is a great matchup of just tremendous talent superstars. I can see it going either way, but I'm just looking at the rest of the card, and I think you want Rhea to keep it. I never thought I'd say that. I would be rooting for Becky Lynch in this as a Becky Lynch fan. I prefer Becky Lynch of the two. I just like the personality a little bit more. But Rhea's so good, so I'm happy either way this match goes down. But my issue with this is you're definitely getting a title change to Bayley. You're definitely getting that. The women's division needs stalwarts, especially with Jade Cargill coming in. Bianca Belair is definitely flirting with turning. So you want your stalwarts really strong, but you need the one. Especially with Charlotte out. You need the one. I think you keep it on Rhea. All the promos have been building to make it look like it's got to be Becky redeeming, somehow getting redemption again, which isn't necessarily true, but it's really redeeming that she still is that, or proving that she still is, the man, so to speak, or still is the best woman there is. But I think you keep it on Rhea Ripley. Really think you do. So I'm going to go Rhea Ripley takes it in a hell of a barn burner match, and this is where I'm going to say probably may end up being match of the weekend is Rhea versus Becky Lynch. But I'm going to get a Rhea Ripley title defense or successful title defense. Before we go further and get to the next women's championship match, I do have to say, you want to treat yourself just like I'm treating myself going to WrestleMania? How about this? Go over to the Etsy shop, ptcreative.etsy.com. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. And help yourself out. We'll just go over there right now and go check it out. We got some awesome stickers and t-shirts and hoodies and hats. The new You Hate to See It line is out and available now. Good stuff. We got new Pokemon stuff. We got new football stuff. We've got all kinds of cool things. You want to celebrate being in Philly for WrestleMania? How about get that nice Philly dumpster fire sticker and show how much this city sucks? Showcase it anywhere you go with the new Philly dumpster fire sticker. Take it with you wherever you want to go. And even the people of Philly will tell you, the place sucks. And if they don't, they're lying, so don't worry about it. But go over to PT Creative. Use that promo code BLISS, BLISS, at checkout on any order of 2 items or more. You're going to get 20% off your total order. So go use that promo code BLISS and treat yourself. Yes. Go to ptcreative.etsy.com. Now we're getting back into the thick of things here with the women's championship match, or the WWE women's championship match. Io Sky versus Bayley. To me, this is a bit obvious. So I'm going to add this. I think we're getting a 6-woman tag match as either part of the pre-show or an additional match added to the card. Especially now that Jade Cargill is in the thing. We're going to be getting Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Dakota Kai all together against Bianca Belair, Naomi, and the newly re-emerged Jade Cargill. I'm looking for Jade Cargill to have the win in that match. They have clearly shown she's going to be in the investment and the superstar that they're going to invest in a lot now. Rightfully so, because she's a star. She's just a goddamn star. So with that being said, I'm going to say Jade Cargill and Co get the win over the Kabuki Warriors and Dakota Kai over Damage Control. Leading into the women's championship match, Io Sky versus Bayley. I think that, yet again, I think this is going to be a really good match. I love Io Sky's work. The high-flying aspects of what Io can do is incredibly impressive. And Bayley is a great character persona, but also she's just a great wrestler. Going all the way back to the NXT days with Sasha Banks. Or Mercedes Moné, as she's now known. This has been one storyline that's been building for years because of Bayley. This has been since SummerSlam 2022. Really, this match has been building. Taking pieces and building a group with Bayley. But on top of that, you're really seeing the culmination of classic wrestling with Bayley. And what I mean by that is Bayley has been a heel for so long that eventually you love to hate the heel so much, you end up just loving them. I don't think Bayley's ever going back to her hugger mold that she had in NXT or when she first got called up to the roster. But what I'll say about it is I think she can embrace some bits of that personality again coming out of this match. And truly being that baby-faced champion that you can root for all the time. With a little bit of an edge now that she's got more of that pseudo role model gimmick. But this is clearly the time to crown Bayley in a main event at WrestleMania. Not necessarily a main event, but a feature match at WrestleMania, winning that title. I think this is Bayley's time to shine. For sure. So we're going to go. Bayley takes it at the culmination of 4-year journey almost. Or almost 5-year journey, I guess, really. But this is Bayley's time to shine in Philadelphia Saturday or Sunday. I'm picking Bayley for the win here in the WWE Women's Championship match. And here we go. WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins takes on Drew McIntyre in what should be one hell of a match. The character work is on point. The promos are on point. These two are bound to have a tremendous, tremendous match. Drew has some newfound love and excitement for wrestling again. I think he was just, I wouldn't say Drew was getting stale, but it was time for a change. And Drew in this new hypocritical, delusional heel role, while still speaking truth, is very, very interesting. And Drew McIntyre is just on a roll right now, character-wise, and the work is still top-notch. Drew is a tremendous performer. Meanwhile, you have one of the anchor points of the WWE in Seth freaking Rollins. I'm of two minds of this. No matter what, I think Seth Rollins loses that championship to Drew McIntyre. The interesting point to me is, where does the character go for Seth? Because I'm going to look forward to the next match, the greatest tag team or the biggest tag team match in the history of WWE. I'm going to say Seth Rollins and Cody lose that one. I'll get to that in a second. So you're going to have Seth coming off a hard-fought loss the night before on night one. And I think night two, he loses the World Heavyweight Championship match to Drew McIntyre. I think it sets up a lot of great character work possibilities. You're seeing more edginess coming out of his promos. You're seeing more edge out of his just general mannerisms. In not a bad way. It's just showing really good fire as an edgy babyface. However, I think it can start leading down the primrose path of getting back to that sinister heel Seth Rollins that can be the true continued rival for Cody, in the sense that Cody can run forth against Seth Rollins in almost this downward spiral of Cody and Seth losing Saturday night. Seth can just say, it was all your fault, you're the reason we lost, and it tired me out and I wasted my time with you, and now I was screwed going into my world championship match, and then I lost that too. And it can start the slow turn back to heel Seth Rollins, which I think is very interesting. Or it can create your plucky baby face back on the chase, trying to get back what is his and eventually losing and continuing a big championship run for Drew McIntyre, which I could also see going into a SummerSlam and Bash in Berlin or whatever it's called, in that you could have a Drew McIntyre Gunther World Championship match of pure European talent, highlighting the big European event. So there's two big paths there. I think no matter what, Seth loses this title match. I would be stunned if Seth Rollins keeps his championship post WrestleMania or at WrestleMania. I'd be flabbergasted, because it's just, I would not see that one coming from the booking that has been done. My pick's going to be Drew McIntyre for the win. And now we're here. What seems to be the main event, but it really isn't the main event. It's the main event of night one. The Rock, the final boss, teams up with his quote-unquote cousin, Roman Reigns, the undisputed Universal WWE Champion, versus Seth freaking Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, and the winner of the two previous Royal Rumble matches, the rightful People's Champion himself, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. This is obviously one of the most exciting parts of WrestleMania this year. The build to Cody being the guy. I was flabbergasted when Cody lost last year. And I love this idea of creating one more obstacle in his way to building the true star. I just think, even more than last year, it really feels like now is the time to where if Cody doesn't take it now, Cody's never going to take it, and people are going to lose faith in Cody. Eventually, you have to pay off your babyface storyline. You have to pay it off. But I think the interesting thing is adding the extra obstacle of The Rock in. The question is, with The Rock, how long is he going to be around in WWE post WrestleMania? I think I think that's the interesting point of this is where do you go with The Rock after this? Is The Rock done? Because it's working so well that I don't think it's going to get a true payoff. What I mean by that is this. As I said before, I think Cody and Seth lose to Roman and Rock night one of WrestleMania. And I say that because of this. Out of screwy shenanigans, out of whatever bullshit that can be done, they've already set the stipulation. If Cody and Seth lose, Cody's going into a bloodline rules match, which is really just a no holds barred match, against Roman. One that ups the ante from last year, so it's not just a straight rematch, which would be logical, I guess, in the sense that there is a way to add an extra layer to the main event that's being repeated from last year. I think one, that's a logical thing to do. Two, the payoff is becoming so much Rock and Cody, Rock and Cody, Rock and Cody, Rock and Cody, when really it's supposed to be Roman and Cody. But the issue I see here is Rock is so working so well, and really the payoff that was trying to be done was Rock and Roman. So you want to get there somehow. So I'm of two minds of it. You could do Rock somehow screws it up and Roman turns on him, or Roman somehow pisses off The Rock and Rock turns on him to cost him the Bloodline Rules match. And give it that Bloodline can't be involved in the main event at all. To really showcase it, which would also add that extra layer that we didn't have last year because there's so much interference on the part of the Bloodline. The interesting thing is this. I think they lose to add that one extra layer to the babyface climb. So when Cody does win night two, it's the true culmination of the babyface story where Cody finishes his story. But I think they lose because then it keeps The Rock as the final boss. And he can go on against Roman and say, hey, you failed because of you. I'm the real tribal chief. Sets up that one. Or you can still have heel Rock pissed that it didn't turn out his way, but just say, it wasn't my fault that I didn't beat Cody. You couldn't beat Cody. It sets up a great challenge of The Rock and Cody in the future because it looks like The Rock's going to be a little bit more involved as a board of directors member in WWE. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happened either. Seth is a great dancing partner here, but the Seth Roman thing is fun and interesting, and I think that could be set up again later. But the real focus is on Cody here. But I'm going to go, I think they want to add that extra layer of obstacle to Bloodline for that Bloodline Rules match for Sunday. So I'm going to say Rock and Roman take it night one to set up the extra obstacle for Cody on night two. So I'm going to go Rock and Roman over Seth and Cody. And finally, the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship match. Roman Reigns defends after a 4-year reign against Cody Rhodes. And we'll just scroll right here for it. That you are going to get a match that I truly think it's going to get Bloodline Rules. So it's going to be a no holds barred match. The interesting thing about this, there's already been reports John Cena could still get a part to play in WrestleMania. Stone Cold Steve Austin could still get a part to play. I wouldn't be shocked to get him more involved even than just the commentary angle during, which I did not cover with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. CM Punk will be on commentary for that match. I wouldn't be shocked if CM Punk got involved at the end of the night. But what I mean by that is this. If I were booking this, I would definitely have Cody and Seth lose night one to add the extra challenge and say Bloodline rules. So then you already set people up for the disappointment of, oh God, they're going to screw Cody again, this again. Cody can't win the big one. Roman's just going to cheat to win. And the Bloodline can be involved in any way, shape, or form. No matter what Cody does, he's going to keep getting cut off and keep getting cut off and keep getting cut off. But in the end, those bigger names that we just mentioned, or maybe even just other members of the roster, or just sick and tired of the Bloodline, they come out and they own the Bloodline so Cody can finish the story. I am of this opinion. I don't think you can keep doing the Cody Roman storyline as is with Cody chasing any longer without people losing faith in Cody as a babyface. Eventually a babyface have to fulfill the promise, otherwise they lose their luster and it's, well, we like you, but we don't love you anymore. And that's a very harsh way to put it. They obviously will always love Cody. I'm a huge fan of Cody as well, but Cody's part of the reason I'm most excited for WrestleMania. But eventually, a babyface has to fulfill the promise of what they're chasing. They have to be able to achieve the goal. Otherwise, you've lost your faith in that, and you have to transition to somebody else. Because wrestling, all at the end of the day, is just basic storytelling. Where at the end of the day, it's supposed to be good guy beats bad guy. All it really is at the end of the day. But how you get there is the interesting portion. The way you tell the story is the interesting portion. The result half the time is not the interesting thing. The vast majority of the time it's the way you tell the story. And babyfaces have to pay off the story, otherwise people lose faith in them. That is why I think no matter what, it has to be Cody winning on Sunday night in the main event. But then you have to look at this is how you get there. And as I was saying before, I think you get the Bloodline Rules match with heavy interference, making you believe that Cody's not going to win again. So when he does, it's more of a surprise factor for some people, not to me and other smart marks, so to speak. But it becomes more of a surprise factor. Can you believe it? He actually did it. He actually pulled it off. He finally slew the beast. He finally slew the dragon. And you can have the ability for other members of the roster, whether they're legacy members or full-time members, get involved in that match too, because it never says other people can't. And it doesn't say in the Bloodline Rule stipulation that they made, where if in the tag match the stipulation is Cody and Seth win, Bloodline's banned. It's just straight up mano a mano. Whereas if it's Rock and Roman win, then it's Bloodline Rules and pretty much anything goes. And here's what we'll see what we can. Where pretty much the entire Bloodline can just come in and destroy him over and over and over and over and over again. So I think what's most interesting about that is it does not say that you couldn't have other members of the roster get involved, and that's where you can have your big thing where if Rock still wants to be heel final boss and relish in his glory, have Stone Cold Steve Austin come out. You can have John Cena come out and neutralize that big factor. Bloodline comes out. You can have Seth Rollins come back to avenge the loss. Although I don't know if that necessarily works. You could have other members of the roster that have just dealt with Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, LA Knight, AJ Styles. Those guys are still fed up. You can have them come out and help Cody and take out the Bloodline. You could have Sammy and Jay, or even Jimmy, after fighting Jay, turns on Roman. You have all these different pieces that can go to neutralize. Jimmy and Jay could neutralize Solo. Sammy could come out and neutralize Solo. All these guys come out, take care of the Bloodline, so it's still mano a mano, and then you have a no-holds-barred match by itself between two phenomenal competitors. And it's crazy to say a champion of over 4 years has become an afterthought, but Roman's not an afterthought, but because of The Rock's tremendous heel work going into WrestleMania, we often are forgetting Roman, and Roman has been the MVP. He's been the man for a long, long time for a reason, and he's clearly shown to be a great WWE champion. But I think it's time for the mantle to be passed down to Cody Rhodes. I think it's time for an American Nightmare to have an American Dream, so to speak, to give you that nice cheesy line. So I am going to go Cody Rhodes over Roman Reigns in a Bloodline Rules match on Sunday to finally become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. The American Nightmare gets the job done and finishes his story in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40. But that is going to do it for our WrestleMania 40 preview. I want to say, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Go check out our socials, including, as I said, I'm going to be at WrestleMania 40 this weekend. So, I'll be taking pictures as much as possible. Cool things I can check out for you. New content. It's coming. Check out our socials on Instagram or TikTok for that. Go check out the podcast over on Spotify. If you're not already listening on Spotify, go check it out and take the podcast wherever you want. And if you're on Spotify, go check out this video over on YouTube. PT Creative YouTube channel. And finally, as always, go over to the Etsy shop, PT Creative. So ptecreative.etsy.com. Use that promo code and reward yourself with some cool stuff. And finally, if you like that video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Help us out as much as possible. We appreciate it. But that is going to do it for me over here at the ONETA show. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Happy WrestleMania weekend to you all. Let's go, Cody. Peace.